Hi, welcome to Julius Bar. Today we're gonna mix the Japanese cocktail. So the Japanese cocktail has actually nothing to do with Japan. It's one of the few original drink in the original bartender's book by Jerry Thomas, which will be like the godfather of bartenders. It's the first guy that published a book. He was going around the US mixing drink. He was one of the first few to do it. And he stole a whole bunch of recipes from everybody, which is fine. But you have to tell who you steal from. Which he didn't. He pretended most of this recipe was his own creation. But the Japanese cocktail was probably really his own creation. And the reason why it's called Japanese cocktail is just because I guess Japan in 1860 was kind of the cool thing. Like it was the cool thing in the 1980s in Italy. So he said, what do kids like this day? Japan, okay, let's call a cocktail the Japanese cocktail. And so let's mix this bad boy. While we chill our coupe, we are gonna start with the bitters. And originally it was done with Bocker's bitters. I read the description of Bocker's bitters and it said like chocolate, clove, some orange. So I'm just gonna mix some of my bitters. There is actually a modern recreation of Bocker's bitters, but I cannot get it here in Japan. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a dash of Peugeot's bitters, which have a bit of anise, a dash of orange bitters by Scrappy for the orange part, and a dash of chocolate bitters also by Scrappy to give that chocolate. That they said it was in the original Bocker's bitters. And we go on with 15 milliliters of Auger or Orzata in Italian. It's basically an almond syrup, and it's gonna give the main sugar content to our cocktail. And then we finish with, yeah, we already done 60 milliliters of cognac. And I'm gonna use this Pierre Ferrand 10 Generations, which is a really nice cognac, especially for the price. And yeah, I'm breaking up the fancy cognac for this cocktail. I wanna it to be as good as possible. And then what we are gonna do, we're gonna get some ice, and we're gonna stir this bad boy. The more I hear talking about Jerry Thomas, the more I feel like he wasn't such a nice guy. Also, it was really much into flair cocktail, like making like moves, kind of a Tom Cruise from Cocktail from the 1860s. Anyway, probably Japan was popular in the 1860s because in 1853-54 the Admiral Perry came to Japan and forced Japan to open his centuries-long period of closing the border to outsiders at all. And so I guess by the 1860s they started to have some Japanese people and products popping out in US. Let's give a simple strain. And let's finish with lemon peel espresso. And there you go, a Japanese cocktail. Let's give it a try. Cheers. Fairly sweet, but quite delicious, I would say. It's good. I mean, pretty simple. The orgeat bring a lot of a flavor. Yeah, the brandy gets kind of killed under the orgeat. So probably it's not worth using your expensive stuff in this case. It's gonna get subdued. But the mix of the bitters work quite well. It's pleasant. It's bitter, add a layer of complexity, a bit of spiciness to the whole thing, but otherwise would be too sweet. And it's actually quite a nice drink. Nothing to do with Japan though. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, comment, share, steer yourself a drink, do whatever you want, and I hope to see you next time. Cheers! Just like Fender called the first guitar they made a Telecaster, well, what's cool today? Television. Oh, let's call it Telecaster. Something like that. And